You are not all alone in this world. Don't think that you don't have help. Don't think that no one is caring about you. The truth is, there are people who can help you and who are willing to help you. All you got to do is just step a little outside and seek for the help from correct people and from the correct places. So when the life throws challenges towards us, when there is tough times in life, we tend to think that we are the only person who is going through depression, anxiety, or stress or problems. But the truth is, if you see the world, there are millions and millions of people who are struggling and who are suffering in this life, right? We all struggle in our lives to live in this world, right? So it is not your suffering. It is not only my suffering. It is our suffering. We all are suffering in this world. The Buddha said, where there is birth, there is suffering. That is the reality. But we don't want to think about this suffering as something negative, right? It is not the suffering that makes us negative. It is the perspective that we are holding on to suffering makes us negative, right? So, today, I'm not here to talk about depression and how to quit the depression. Today, I'm going to share with you a simple Buddhist practice that can help you in healing these depressive thoughts or anxious thoughts or any kind of mental suffering that you're having. And this practice is called becoming mindful about your thoughts, right? Becoming mindful about your thoughts. In Satipatthana Sutta, Buddha explains this as Cittānupassanā. So how can we practice becoming mindful about our thoughts? It is very simple, right? You can do this practice whenever you want or wherever you want. It is free. You totally have the freedom to do it, right? Here's how we can do this. And when we become mindful about our thoughts, what we are doing is we are not judging our thoughts, and also we are not trying to stop our thoughts, but we constantly become aware of what we are thinking, what comes to our mind. So all you got to do is you can sit down, or you can do this while walking, while traveling in the bus, or wherever you want. Just ask from yourself that what am I thinking? Then you will come across with these thoughts, right? So what we have to do is whenever you become depressed, whenever you feel anxious about yourself, whenever you feel sad about something, what you have to do is just notice it. Notice it as a thought. Because most of the time, we judge ourselves by thoughts. We are thinking about ourselves as our thoughts. But remember, you are not your thoughts. When you become more mindful, it gives you this ability to separate yourself from your thoughts, right? So we don't want to judge ourselves by our thoughts. What we are doing is we become mindful. We become more aware of our thoughts without judging. It is very simple. It's like this. It's like you're watching a traffic pass by sitting beside the road. You can see cars are going, you can see bikes are going, vans, buses, cargo carriers. There are so many vehicles that are going. All you're doing is you're just watching them. You're just noticing them, right? But most of the time what happens is we become more afraid about these vehicles and we try to jump into the middle of the road and we are trying to stop these things. Right? That is what you are doing. That is what we are doing when we become depressed or sad. When these sad and depressed thoughts haunt our mind, what we are doing is we are trying to fight it. We are trying to suppress them. We are trying to stop them. The more you try to stop these thoughts, it will come again and again. Remember that. So all you got to do is, we are not going to fight them, we are not going to stop them, we are noticing them, right? You can do this. Just ask this simple question from you: what am I thinking? Then you will find that, oh, my thoughts are depressed. It is not me that is depressed, my thoughts are depressed, right? So what is the nature of a thought? It will come and it will stay for a while in your mind and it will fade away. That is the nature of the thought. So it is just a thought. That means you are not the depression, you are not the anxiety, and you are not the stress. Remember, if you feel hopeless, if you feel that you are not good enough, don't believe what your mind always says. You are more capable than you think. You are more good than you think, right? So what is holding back us is this little frame that we are having inside our mind, that I am not good enough, I cannot do these things, I am not capable of doing these things, I am hopeless, no one is going to help me. If you change that mindset one day, remember, you can do better and you can do more than you think. So please, don't think that you are not good enough. I repeat again, that you are more capable of doing things more than you think, right? So believe in it and work for it. So if you are going through painful situations and if you are having painful memories about yourself, don't run away from them. Don't be afraid of them. Remember, pain is a part of growing, right? If you want to grow, sometimes you have to go through pain. Most of the time you have to go through pain. So if you practice these mindful exercises, and if you seek for the help, and if you do this proper medication for your mental suffering, then one day for sure you are going to be okay. You are going to be happy in your life. And this is the best part of recovering from these traumatic and painful situations. What is that? You can help someone who is in the same place as you were. You can say that, do these things, practice these things, think like this, because I know the pain that you are going through, because I was a person like you. But I am recovered now. You also can recover yourself. So you can inspire others and you can help others. And then you will find the real value of your life. So please do not think that you are not good enough. You're more than enough than you think. So remember these things and practice these things in your life. And I wish you all, may all of you find the real happiness in your life.
From today's video, let's discuss about how can we deal with anxiety and what to do when our mind becomes anxious, right? We all know that how it is painful when our mind becomes anxious and when we become afraid of the things that will happen in the future, or when the mind creates all these scenarios in our head about the things that will happen in the future, right? So how can we deal with this state of mind? There are a few things that we can do, right? But most of the time, when we become anxious, what happens is we become panicked and we take decisions that may not be the correct decision to take. Okay, so today I'm going to be sharing with you few things and few advices that I have given and that helped me a lot personally to deal with this anxiety. So the first thing that you have to do is, first, you have to be aware of your mental state, right? If you're anxious, if you're afraid of something, the first thing is to be aware of it and to accept it, right? Most of the time, we pretend not to be anxious. We pretend not to be fearful about the future, and we try to reject that state of our mind. The more we reject, the more it persists in our mind. So that is why the first step is to acknowledge and accept your current state of your mind. If you're anxious, just say to yourself, okay, now my thoughts are in anxiety mode, right? My thoughts are anxious. I am fearing about certain things. Acceptance will help you to catch the thought and to be more aware of it. And also, when you accept it, it creates less pain, right? Acceptance is the first step of healing. So the first step is to accept your current mental state. And the second step is, this is amazing, once you understand the current state of your mind, what you have to do, the biggest advice that I have given about anxiety is do one thing at a time, right? Take one action at a time, right? We all know that when we have lot to do, right? When we have many jobs to do, what happens? We start thinking about everything, right? We started loading these thoughts into our mind every time, and we try to do all at once. But in reality, we can't do all at once, right? One thing that we can do is we can take one job, one action at a time and do that, right? So how to do this? First of all, to clarify your thoughts and to be clear about what you have to do and what you can do and cannot do, first, sit down in a quiet place, take a piece of paper and write down all the things that you are fearing about, and write down all the things about the current situation that you are in. And also, most importantly, you have to write down the things that are in your control and things that are out of your control. When you clarify these things, you can take actions upon the things that are under your control. So one thing that you can do is sit down, write down all the thoughts, write down current situation of your life, and write down all the things that are under your control and not under your control, so that you're very clear about what to do and what not to do, right? So when you clarify that and take one action, just one action, and what you have to do, just execute that action, right? Don't try to do all the things, just pick one action and do it at one. It's something like this, right? Something like you're grabbing a bunch of oranges, right? What will happen if you try to grab a bunch of oranges at once? You can't grab all of them, right? It will fall, they will fall. So one thing that you can do is pick a basket, take one orange at a time and put it into the basket. In that way, you can grab many oranges. In the same way, when you clarify your thoughts and take one action at a time and execute it, then it will be clear in your mind and it will ease up your mental state. So do one thing at a time. And the third step is to do it slowly and deliberately, right? Even when you become clarified about what to do, don't be anxious, don't be panicked. What do you have to do? Do it slowly, right? One thing that a lot of meditation masters teach is that when you're anxious, do something slowly, right? Slow down. When your body becomes slow down, your mind becomes slow down. That's the connection between the body and our mind. When our mind is slow, our body is slow. When our body is slow, our mind is slow. So do things, take that action and do it slowly and deliberately. Do it with proper consciousness, proper awareness and proper mindfulness. That's so that you feel what you're doing. Then you understand what you're doing, right? So in that way, you can ease up this anxiety. And the last thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete the action. When we are anxious about certain things, what we do, we don't complete that action, right? We just hang over that problem or that task and we don't complete it, right? One thing that you have to do is do it completely, right? Complete your action, do it slowly, deliberately, and finally complete that action so that that step is finished, right? And then once you complete that action, what do you have to do? Take the next step and do it slowly, deliberately and completely. In that way, you can clarify what you have to do, and also you will get a good time to take good decisions. So this is a little way and a tiny practice that you can add to your life to ease up your pain of anxiety. And whenever you are anxious about certain things, try this and it will ease up your pain of anxiety. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy.
No matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, there are certain times in life we are going to make mistakes. We are going to mess things up in life. In such times, one of the most common things that we do is we hate ourselves. And this self-hatred can end up in serious situations like suicide. See how many times we say, "I love you" to someone. How often we say? We say it often, right? But how often we say, "I love myself. I appreciate who I am"? This is something that we don't do openly. See, in Buddhist practice, the first step of spreading love and kindness is to practice love and kindness, or spread love and kindness to yourself. So the Buddha saw that without being filled with self-love and self-kindness, you cannot be kind to someone else. So that is why we have to learn how to be kind and how to love ourselves without hating ourselves. So from this video, I'm going to be sharing with you few things that we have to understand and we have to practice to stop hating ourselves and to start appreciating and loving our life. Number 1, do not believe in labels. See, there are lots of labels that we have put on ourselves. For an example, your name. Your name is a label that was given by maybe your parents, and everyone started to call from that name, and it became your personality. It became who you are. Okay? Same like that, we are so good at labeling ourselves with our imperfections, with our mistakes, or with our incapabilities. But here's the thing, the more we label ourselves with our incapabilities, for an example, people say to themselves like, "I am a person who is being angry all the time." Okay, I'm a person who has having a weak mindset. I'm a person who is lazy all the time. Okay, I don't have any friends. I'm not getting in with friends. Okay, I cannot be with these people. So the more you label like that yourself, it becomes your personality. And that is why we should not believe in the labels that we put on ourselves. Why? Because a label, or your incapabilities, or your weaknesses, or your mistakes are just a thought pattern. And it is always can be changed. Okay? You can always improve. And that is why we should not label ourselves with our incapabilities and our mistakes, or from our weaknesses. We always have the chance to improve and to evolve. Number 2, learn to accept mistakes. Mistakes are the proof that says that we are trying in life and we are not willing to give up on ourselves. Every great person in this world has made mistakes, and they have learned from their mistakes, and that is how they evolved, and that is how they achieved the greatness. Always remember, the mistakes will never define your character unless you define your character with your mistakes. So do not let your mistakes to define your character. Always you have the chance to improve and move on and make yourself a good person and improve yourself. Believe in it. Number 3, stop criticism. This is something that is very important that we have to focus on in loving ourselves. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop criticizing others. Now here I'm not talking about the constructive criticism. I'm talking about the negative criticism. Okay? Do not criticize others, and also do not criticize yourself. Okay? Why we should not criticize others to put others down? In each and every time when we criticize someone, we give the message to our mind that we are better than them. Okay, I am perfect than them. And you set standards to yourself. Most of the time, these are not realistic standards. Okay, and when we cannot live up to our own standards, what happens to us? We hate ourselves. And that is how criticism steals the self-love and the self-value. And that is why we should not criticize anyone. And number 4, believe that imperfection is beautiful. Just take a deep breath and look into this nature. Everything has that one nature that is the imperfection. From the little plant to the great mountain, everything is imperfect, right? There is no perfectly symmetrical plant in this world. There is no perfectly symmetrical mountain in this world. Everything has the imperfection. And as humans, we also imperfect human beings, okay? And also it gives the chance for us to evolve. It gives the chance for us to be more productive and be more successful. See, becoming successful and becoming happy is not a destination. It is not a perfection, right? It is always a journey. We have to keep improving ourselves. We have to keep becoming successful, becoming happy. It is a journey that we go through in this life. So when you accept the imperfections, no matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, no matter how great we are, there will be always imperfections in life. When we accept it, we can focus our kindness and our love towards ourselves. And also, every single day, this is something that you can practice. When you wake up in the morning, just sit on the bed and think, no matter how imperfect I am, no matter what mistake that I do in my life, I'm not going to give up on myself, right? I keep improving myself. I keep making myself a good person, a happier person, and I will never let go of myself. This is not something that is called selfishness. Selfishness is expecting many unrealistic things from yourself, right? And then when you're not up to your standards, you start to hate yourself. And that is why when you truly love yourself, truly love your imperfections, and truly love who you are and accept who you are, you get the chance to improve and you get the chance to evolve. And these are the things that we have to keep in mind in order to practice the self-love and improve the self-value. So keep practicing these things and make your life happier and healthier. A king wanted to write down a quote on his sword to not to be too much happy when he wins and to not to be too much sad when he loses. Now this king found out that his mind gets too much obsessed when he wins and his mind gets too much obsessed when he defeats. So he gave this job to write down a quote on his sword to his mentor. So the mentor thought for a while and he simply wrote down these amazing 4 words on his sword. It said, "This too shall pass." I'll repeat it again. This too shall pass. See, when we live in this world, there are worldly conditions that we have to experience in this world. The Buddha named these worldly conditions as 8 worldly conditions, Atta Loka Dhamma. In Dutiya Loka Dhamma Sutta, the Buddha explains this, that because the whole world revolves around 8 worldly conditions. And the 8 worldly conditions revolves around this world. What are these 8 worldly conditions? The Buddha explains that gain and loss is a worldly condition, and praise and blame is a worldly condition, and fame and disgrace is a worldly condition, and pleasure and pain is a worldly condition. So these are the worldly conditions that we go through and we experience in all of our lives. Now the problem is not having to go through these all worldly conditions. The problem behind this is
our minds get too much obsessed with these worldly conditions. When we win, our minds get too much attached to it, and we forget that this victory won't last forever. And when we lose and when we defeat, when we fall down, our minds get too much obsessed with that defeat, and we think that this defeat, this sadness, this suffering will last forever. But in reality, all good things come to an end, and as well as all bad things come to an end. Nothing lasts forever. So how can we live by not being attached to this winning and losing, and not being attached to any kind of these worldly conditions? Now, Buddha shows us the way to not to be attached to any kind of these things. The way to do that is to simply understand the nature of all these conditions. What is the nature? The nature of all the worldly conditions is they are subjected to change. Right? When you win, it is subjected to change. When you lose, it is subjected to change. And it is impermanent. Simply, you can remind it to yourself that this too shall pass. Okay? When you hit the rock bottom, when you go through problems, when you go through difficulties in your life, just remember to yourself that this too shall pass. This pain, this suffering too shall pass. And when you win, and when you're happy, and when everyone cheers for you around you, always remember to yourself that this is not going to last forever. This too shall pass. That is one of my favorite quotes that I read recently. It says, when you win, you are not good as you think you are. And when you lose, you are not bad as you think you are. So when you win, everyone will cheer to you, everyone will congratulate you, everyone will say good things about you, but always remember, you are a man. You are a human. You are imperfect. And everything is subjected to change. Now, this does not say that you should not enjoy winning. You should not enjoy victory. You can enjoy victory. You can be happy about it. But simply understand this winning, this victory won't last forever. And when you lose, you have to remember to yourself that you are not bad as you think you are. You can learn from your mistakes, you can learn from your fails, and you can always improve yourself and always think that this is not going to last forever. This pain is not going to last forever. By simply understanding that everything is subjected to change, nothing is permanent in life, will help you to achieve a happier and more fulfilling life by not being attached to any kind of these extremes. When you win, do not be too much attached to it. And when you lose, do not be too much attached to it. Then you will be happy.
Imagine you're having a rough day and you're scrolling through social media. And you see these nice pictures, people are celebrating their life, having the best days in their life, celebrating and becoming happy. When you see these pictures, what do you feel inside? Sometimes we feel even more stressed and we feel like there's no value in our life. One of the biggest enemies of our happiness is comparing our life with others' lives. There is some sort of jealousy and envy that builds up in our life, in our mind. That is why becoming envious and jealousy and comparing our lives to others is one of the biggest enemies of our happiness. To overcome this, the Buddha introduced a special practice, and that is called mudita. Mudita means appreciative joyfulness. Always remember, when we compare our lives to others, and when you build up that jealousy and envy within yourself, it is not going to help in your success, in your life, right? Sometimes, like we stop in a certain place, okay? We hold on to one emotion and we stay in that envy and jealousy and thinking about other people's lives without making our life successful. without focusing on our life. So the Buddha said, when you see these successful people in the society, when people around you living the best days in their life and your life is not having such experience, always look up to them and think and wish the happiness of them. Okay? That is called appreciative joyfulness. Wish the happiness of beings around you, even though you are going through a tough time. When we see successful people, we should not be jealous at them. It is not going to help us. What we have to do, we have to wish the success on them. When you see someone is having the best days in their life, think of him and say, oh, may he be happy even more. May he have a prosperous and a happy life forever. If you do that, you're not going to give the space for that envy and unhappiness and that negativity in your mind. The more you practice this positive mindset, the more you practice this appreciative joyfulness, you can be happy about yourself. Even on the hard days, even though your life is in a tough place. So that is why whenever we see successful people, people having a happy life, we have to wish the happiness of them. That is called mudita. So when we practice this simple Buddhist practice of mudita or appreciative joyfulness, we can be happy about our life and also we can be peaceful within.
If there is one thing in common in this world that all living beings search for, that is the happiness. We all like to be happy. We all seek happiness in this world. If I ask from you, would you like to be happy in your life? What will be your answer? You will say, of course, I want to be happy in my life. I want this peaceful state. I need to be in that. That is your answer. That is the answer of all living beings. Buddha says that all living beings likes to be happy and they seek the happiness. If you really think about our life, we are in a never-ending journey of pursuing happiness. Let me tell that again. We are in a never-ending journey of pursuing happiness. That means we are pursuing happiness, we are chasing and we are seeking for happiness, but yet we have not found it. So, what is the reason for this not finding happiness? Why we don't find happiness in our life? We are seeking it, we are finding for it, but we don't find it. What is the reason? Well, the Buddha teaches us that we are finding or we are seeking this happiness from a source that the happiness does not exist. Because we are seeking happiness from external world. We are seeking happiness from these materialistic things. Well, when you seek happiness from materialistic things or external world, you get pleasure, but that is not happiness. Pleasure is something temporary and it gives you this instant gratification. But in happiness, the happiness is long-lasting and it gives you this happiness or the contentment about yourself. So that is why Buddha teaches us that you're finding the happiness from a source where the happiness does not exist. So the more you find it, the more you become frustrated. So, will we ever be able to find happiness in our life? The Buddha answers this question. He says, yes, you can find happiness in your life. How to do that? If you look closely to the first and the second verses of Dhammapada, Buddha says, if one with an impure mind speaks or acts, the suffering will follow him like a cart wheel following the ox. If with an impure mind one speaks or acts, the suffering will follow him. And in the next verse, Buddha says, if with a pure mind one speaks or acts, the happiness will follow him like a shadow following a man. So that means the happiness and the sadness entirely depends on the purity and the impurity of our mind. When our mind is pure, we can find the happiness. So, how can we gain this purity in our mind in order to find the happiness? Well, Buddha teaches us there are a lot of things that you can do to make your mind pure. So today, I'm going to share with you a few things that can give you the happiness in your life, that you can find the happiness in your life. First thing, accepting the reality of life will give you the happiness. You know, life is full of ups and downs. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes we have bad days, sometimes we have beautiful memories, sometimes we also have miserable memories. So life is not something that is going equally every day. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. When you realize this reality, you can face these situations successfully, right? It is not always this bad experience makes us frustrated. It is our reaction towards this bad experience makes us frustrated. Whenever you get a bad experience or a bad day or a bad situation, tough situation, difficult situation, you have two choices. Either you can focus on the pain and feel miserable about that situation, or you can focus on the lesson that bad situation teaches us and learn from it and start growing your life. So, if you accept the reality of life, it is not temporary. Sometimes the people around us are not in our control. We cannot control their reactions. We cannot control their opinions. So when you realize these situations, you can face those situations successfully. That is one thing, accepting reality of the life. Number two, Buddha said, be generous. Practicing generosity is a major practice in Buddhism. Well, in Buddhism, the generosity is known as dana. In dana, Buddha says that you have to give without any expectations. We have to give and we have to dedicate towards others without expecting anything in return. That is one thing that we have to practice. Most of the time, we like to hold on to things or gather the things towards us. That is what people think. When you gather more, when you collect more things, you will get rich and you will gain happiness. But that does not give you the happiness. It will give you the pleasure, but it is temporary. So what we have to do, Buddha says, be generous, give, help others, dedicate a part of your life on behalf of others. When you do that, when you become more generous, let's say like this, you gave some foods to a poor person, let's say like that. When you see that person is having those foods and overcoming his hunger and making his life much better, you can be happy by seeing that. When you become happy like that, you feel happy about yourself, right? Nothing can give you that happiness. Like by eating a good food, by dressing a nice dress, you cannot gain that happiness. You don't feel happy about yourself, right? Let's say after hundred of years later, maybe 10 decades later, when you think about that incident, I gave this food to this poor person. When you remind that, you feel happy. Even then you feel happy. that means happiness is long-lasting. So Buddha says, be generous, help people, do something nice every day for a person. That is one thing we can do. And number 3, forgiving. Forgiving is one of the most important things that we can do to create happiness in our life. We have to forgive ourselves. Also, we have to forgive others too. Because forgiving, when you forgive, it doesn't mean that you are saying okay to others' mistakes. It's okay. No, you're not saying like that. When you forgive, you make your heart free. So when you forgive, it's not for that person, it is for you. And also we have to forgive for ourselves. There are so many mistakes that we all have done in the past. If you hold on to past, and if you make this present moment miserable, that will not give you the happiness. So what do we have to do? Whatever the bad thing that we have done in the past, we have to have this ability to forgive ourselves and start all over again. We all have that ability, right? We all have that privilege to start our life again and make it a better one. Okay? So no one is perfect in this world. We all have done mistakes. One thing that we have to do is to forgive and start doing good things. So these are 5 things that we can do to create happiness in our life. And also, there is one happiness that is called the ultimate happiness in this world that the Buddha teaches us. That is called Nibbana or Nirvana. That is the enlightenment. When you realize about the reality of this life, and when you remove this desire or the craving that arises within your mind, then Buddha says that is the ultimate happiness. Simply, the Nibbana means Ragakkayo, Dosakkayo, Mohakkayo, Nibbana. That means removing of the desire, anger, and the delusion of the mind is called the enlightenment. So that is the highest level of happiness that we all can reach. So when you practice these practices, right, when you engage yourself in wholesome state, that will create you the happiness in the life. So practice these things and make your life a happier one.
We've all heard these words more than 1,000,000 times in our life, and that is to let go of the attachments, and then we will be happy. But saying this is easy, but doing this practically, it is really, really difficult. So let's discuss about what it truly means to let go and let go of the attachments and how to approach it in the correct way. Oftenly, the common perspective of letting go of the attachment is that people think that we have to let go of the things that we are being attached to. That means attachment is occurred by these objects around us. So that to let go of the attachments, we have to let go of the things and then we will be happy. Now, I have heard that people say that, oh, even the Buddha said that let go of everything and then you will be happy. But Buddha never said to let go of the things or let go of the things that you are being attached to. And also, the Buddha never said that you have to be attached to the things around you. What Buddha said is that understand and realize that one day you have to let go of the things that are around you. And also one day you'll have to be separated from the things and from the people that you love and like one day. And realize this and live with them. While living with them, you have to realize that one day this is the reality of my life, that I will have to be separated from them. These things are subjected to change. And that is the true understanding about letting go of the attachments. One of the misconceptions about attachment is that people think, oh, attachment is an object. So that to let go of the attachment, we have to let go of that object. But this is not correct. Because if we have to let go of the attachment, and if we have to let go of the things that we have been attached to, then we will never be able to let go of these attachments. Why? Because as human beings, when we come to this world, there are so many things that are around us. There are so many things that we use, right? So if we had to let go of the things, then we will never be able to do that. Because even the body that we use is an object. Right? This is not something that we truly own. So if we have to let go of the things, then we have to let go of even our body. But we can't do that in reality. So that understand, the attachment is not an object. Attachment is more of a mind-related thing. Just look at these words from the Buddha. The Buddha said, "They are not sensual pleasures, the pretty things in the world. A person's sensual pleasure is lustful intention. The pretty things remain just as they are in the world, but the wise remove the desire for them." So what Buddha says is, just let the pretty things in the world stay in the same way, and you let go of the desire to wanting to them to be in the way that you want. Wanting things to be permanent is what we have to let go. How we should do that? We should understand that everything is subjected to change. Everything is subjected to impermanence, where we expect things to be permanent, and that is what makes us suffering. So then one can ask, if we let go of the desire, will we be able to enjoy the things? Now, here's the thing. The Buddhist understanding about desire is that it is the mental attachment and thinking that these are mine, these are myself, this is me. It's like dragging a cow from its rope around its neck. Like the cow pulls to his side and we pull to our side. And what happens to us is that our hands get hurt. The reason why our hands get hurt is not because the cow is pulling to his side. The reason why our hand gets hurt is we are gripping the rope so tightly, and we are not ready to let go. And at first, letting go of the rope seems scary. Why? Because we think that we might lose the cow. The cow might run away. But in reality, if we simply let go, yes, the cow may run for a distance, but it will always come back. That's the nature. Even in the life, letting go of the attachments seems scary at first. But when we realize that in this life we have gained nothing and we have lost nothing, it is very, very easy to let go. The reality is that in life, we are not owners of anything. We came to this life owning nothing, and we are leaving this life owning nothing. So in this little time, we are just using these things around us. So we are not true owners, or we haven't gained anything. So if we haven't gained anything, what we have lost. So how can we train our minds to let go of the attachments? What we should practice? Now, the first step of letting go is to understand the true nature of life. What is the true nature of life? That everything, every experience, every feeling, everyone in our life is subjected to this inherent nature of change. We are constantly changing, right here, even right now. When you understand this, you understand that life is nothing but a bunch of changes. So that when these things change, that we have nothing to hold on to as permanent and wanting things to be according to our own wish. Because the life is undergoing even the constant change right now, right here. When you realize that no one, nothing, no feeling, no experience stays forever in life, or in other words, you cannot step into the same river twice, you realize that thinking about this life as permanent, wanting things to be permanent, is nothing but just an illusion of your mind. We are being eluded from our ignorance. That is what we realize by realizing the true nature of this change in life. It is something like this. Imagine you are going to a magic show and watching the magic show. As long as you don't know how to do the magic, how the magic is done, then you get fooled by it. And as long as you get fooled by it, the magic is a magic for you. But what if we become friends with the magician and we learn how to do the magic? And then again you go to the same magic show and watch the magic show. Now the magic is no longer a magic for you. But still, you can watch the magic show, you can enjoy it, but you know how it happens. You know how it is done, so that you are not being fooled by anything. In the same way, when we realize that this illusion of our mind, that thinking about this permanent, thinking the life and experiences to be permanent is just an illusion of our mind, then you can enjoy the life, and also you can live life in a more wiser and a more experienced and a more matured way. So that is the way we understand about the attachment. This realization will make you more understanding about yourself and the world around you. And it will make you more easily enjoy this world in a more wiser and a more matured way. And also, by understanding about this constant change in your life, you let go of the attachment, you let go of this mind and the thought of wanting things to be permanent. And then the process of letting go will become much more easier. So understand that when we let go, we don't let go of the things. We let go of the mental and the emotional attachment towards things. We let go of that craving towards things, to wanting things to be permanent. And when you realize this, you can let go of this attachment and these expectations very easily. So that's a wrap for today's video. I hope you got some idea about attachment. So I wish you, may all of you be well and happy, and may all of you be happy forever. Namo Buddhaya. It is quite easy to be patient and to be calm when the life goes smoothly. But where our real patience comes into test is in the middle of adversity. I know it is very difficult to practice patience for all of us. It is easier to say to be patient. It is easier to advise to be patient, but it is easy to talk about patience, but to practice this quality, it is really challenges for every one of us. So although it is difficult, although it is challenging, we have to practice this amazing quality that brings the happiness and the calmness and peace to our life. So let's talk about how to practice patience according to Buddha's teachings. So in Buddhism, patience is considered as the greatest virtue. In Dhammapada, verse number 184, the Buddha says, patience is the highest virtue. The Buddhas say that Nibbana is supreme. And the one who harms others is not a monk, and one who destroys others is not a monk. So in Buddhism, a bigger space and a bigger value is given to the patience, and to practice the patience as the practice of patience as an inner quality, not just to talk about it, not just to read about it or to learn about it, but the real practice. So in Buddhism, the greatest quality in Buddhism, the greatest virtue is considered as the patience also. So what exactly is patience? The Buddha describes this as follows. So being able to put up with ups and downs and challenging situations and disagreeable experiences in life is called patience. But to be honest, it is really difficult to be patient. Yes, it is difficult. It is going to be difficult, and it will be always difficult. It will never be easy, because that's the nature of all good practices in life. The Buddha said what brings the happiness to your life, to practice such qualities, is the most difficult thing that you have to do in your life. But although it is difficult, we all have to practice this amazing quality of being patient. Now, in Buddhism, being silent, tolerating, and enduring everything out of fear does not mean the real patience. In Buddhism, the real patience comes with a deeper meaning of life. When someone has a deeper meaning of his life, and when someone has knows the true nature of life, then it's very easy for that person to be patient and to practice the amazing quality of patience. Normally, when we tolerate and when we become silent, the reason why we become silent is because of the fear. Sometimes we have no choice to do anything, right? In that case, we become silent. But the Buddha says that that is not the true patience. Someone can see such kind of a person and say, oh, he is patient. But that's not the true patience, because that person doesn't have the power. That person doesn't have the authority to do something, right? So being patient out of fear is not the true patience. The Buddha says about the real patience like this. In Vaipacitti Sutta, it is mentioned, so the real patience comes when you understand that there is the beast inside you. What is that beast? The anger. And if you're afraid of that anger, and if you're afraid of that beast to control your life, and if you can be patient in that situation by controlling your emotions and controlling your thoughts and controlling your anger and deciding to not to harm that person, that is called the true patience and the real patience. To practice such kind of a patience, you have to do a great dedication. Sometimes you have to go through a lot of hardships. You have to endure a lot. But still, why you become patient? Because you believe that being patient is the greatest virtue that you can practice in life. And you believe that you are much more better than them, and you have a better qualities than them. If you believe in that, you can truly be patient. To practice patience, the Buddha offers us a path of thinking in a more deeper level of understanding through our life. So suppose a person comes to you and treat you with rude words, right? Or treat you with their meanness. How can you avoid that situation without even worrying? How to do that? So the Buddha teaches us to look at this situation through the 3 marks of existence. So what are 3 marks of existence? So the Buddha says the 3 marks of existence are anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Impermanence, suffering, and non-self. So anicca. Anicca is the understanding about the impermanence. So the Buddha said that everything in life is subjected to change. If you look at our life, there is nothing that we can hold on to and think and find that is not subjected to change. So once you understanding this intrinsic nature or the inherent nature of impermanence, it's very easy to let go of that anger and to be patient. Because let's say someone blamed you or someone treated you with rude words, okay? Right at the moment that you heard that voice, those words, they became impermanent, right? But here's the problem. Why does we hear the same thing again and again, what they said in our mind, and we keep creating that chain of thought, and we keep creating that anger in our mind? Because the mind has the nature to recreate everything that we heard or what we experienced, okay? So we think that they abused me, they hurt me, and they treated me with these rude words. So I should not be treated like this. But in reality, those words had been impermanent now. They have been vanished. For an example, the words that you heard from me before, now everything has been vanished. They don't exist. That's the reality of life. But once you're understanding this true and intrinsic nature of impermanence, it's very easy to let go of the anger, because you don't find anything to hold on to now. What is the word that we have to hold on to now in this moment to be angry? No, it has gone. So once you understand this true nature of impermanence, it's very easy to practice patience. And the second thing that we have to understand is dukkha. Dukkha often refers to as suffering. So the Buddha said that the pain and suffering is a part of our life. So you cannot remove that. We have to face that situation, okay? Because that is the nature of living. The nature of life is, it is always connected or characterized by the pain or suffering. This is not to worry about the pain or the suffering, but to see it as a part of life and accept it, learn to be with it, learn to deal with it. That is how we can understand the suffering. And the final thing that we have to realize and understanding is the nature of anatta. The nature of anatta is the nature of not self or non-self, right? The Buddha says that there are things in your life that are out of your control. Not every time you're going to have everything according to your wishes. Okay, there are things that are out of our range of control. Once we understand this true nature of anatta or non-self, it is really easy to accept the truth in life. And it is very easy to not to worry about the things that we cannot control. So if you look at the life, if you look at the situations in your life, in these three marks of existence, the Buddha said that it is really easy to practice the patience. It is really easy to love people, to give your kindness to people, because we know that we are not going to last forever, and we know that they are not going to last forever. What they did was not going to last forever. What they said was not going to last forever. So we can let go of the anger and we can move on. So these are the few things and few realizations that will help us to practice the patience in your life. So keep this in your mind and be patient. Namo Buddhaya. Have you seen those people who are walking on slack lines or cables? They do these amazing stunts on these cables. Now, you may think that it is an easy task to do. No, it is the most difficult thing to be balanced on that cable. It is very easy to fall into either sides. Same goes with our life. It's the most difficult thing for us to be balanced, to balance our inner self and the outer self, right? So from this video, I would like to talk with you about an important place, an important area of us to be balanced, right? This is the area of we helping others. I read this wonderful quote. That is the reason that I wanted to make this video. I read this wonderful quote in a place that says, to not lose yourself in the name of helping others, right? That is amazing, right? For an example, let's say there is an empty jar or an empty vessel, right? Can you fill other cups with this empty jar? No, you can't. If you need to fill other cups, then you need to fill the jar first. In the same way, the Buddha says that you need to fill yourself. You need to take care of yourself, right? You need to improve yourself in order to help others, right? But it is very easy for us to be it in an extreme. Let's say if you're someone who is committing the fullest in yourself on the happiness of others, on the benefit of others, on the betterment of others, right? If you are a parent, if you are someone, if you in your relationships, let's say you are committing your fullest self to maintain this relationship and to help others and to make others happy, right? This can be an extreme. This can go to an extreme where you lose your character, you lose your identity, and you lose who you are in the name of helping that person, right? From the other person's perspective, it is a good thing to do. It's a great help for that person. But when you too much helping others without taking care of yourself, when you forget to take care of yourself, there are certain downsides that occurs in your life. One of them being, the more you help without improving yourself, you reduce the quality of your help, right? You reduce the amount, the productivity of help that you're going to give to that person, right? Now, with the time when the quality reduces, that person is not getting what they got before. And they will complain, why you are not giving me, why you are not committing your fullest self for this. But in reality, you're doing it while losing who you are. Okay? So that is why the Buddha said it is really important to balance that, to be in balance when you help others. So the Buddha gave a wonderful simile or a metaphor to understand about this. Buddha said, be like a cow, a mother cow who has a baby calf. What do you mean by that? That means, the Buddha said, there are two jobs for a mother cow to do. One is that she should graze. She should first feed herself. Okay? She should eat grass and graze and feed herself. And also the other job is to take care of the baby calf. She should give milk to the baby calf. Right? What if this mother cow forget one job? Okay, one of these jobs. Let's say the mother wanted only to graze and feed herself and not take care of the baby. What happened? The baby calf will die eventually. What if the mother only gave milk, only be focused on giving milk to the baby calf? Then the baby calf will survive, but mother will die eventually. Right? So in the same way, the Buddha said, for monks, as monks, we live and we are committed to a spiritual life. Right? That is the sole purpose of entering a monkhood, to live a spiritual life, to be more focused on the spirituality. Now, when you do that, it doesn't mean you don't help others. You don't help and you don't work on others' happiness, right? But when you do that, okay, one part of our monkshood is to help other people with Dhamma, with Buddha's teachings, and helping with doing charity and helping them with emotionally, right? When you do that, there is this part, we forget our main idea. We forget our main goal, why we came to this monkhood. And our jobs go in the other way. Okay? Sometimes it's very easy for us to be engaged in charity, to help other people, and be there for other people when they need. But when you do that, sometimes we forget to improve ourselves. So the Buddha said, it is the monk's duty to maintain this balance in the spiritual life while doing all the works and the chores and the duties in the monastery, right? While helping other monks and helping to the monastery, he must take care of his spiritual practice as well. He must be balanced in that as well. So to do that, you have to be like a mother cow who is feeding her baby and taking care of her as well. So keep it in your mind that yes, you need to help other people. It is very good to help other people. And if you need to give your fullest self, if you need to make others happy that will make you happy, what do you have to do? First, we need to improve ourselves. Okay? So that is why it is really important to have some time during the day to take care of yourself. I like to call this me time. I have this me time every single day. No matter what duties that I have, I spend time for myself. Learning something, maybe practicing something to myself, to my benefit, so that I can help you people and people around the world in a more good way, in a greater way. Okay? So it is really important for all of us to balance this help to others and also help to ourselves. So I wish that you got some idea about this balance in life. So I wish may all of you be healthy, happy, and free from sufferings. Welcome and welcome back to another video. From today's video, let's discuss about the problem of feeling worthless, right? Sometimes no matter how good we are, sometimes how good other people to us are, we feel worthless about ourselves, right? We feel that we don't have any value, right? My life, there is no value in my life. Why am I living? Have you ever felt like this? Now, this has been a big problem for me before becoming a monk, right? Before becoming a monk, we have to undergo a training period of like 1.5 years, right? I will tell you about my story. So I was staying in this monastery, and I had to learn how to become a monk, and we were practicing and everything. But since even though everything is good, everything around me is good, right? Everyone around me is good. And also, even though I am doing good, that still I feel like, why am I living in this life, right? My life, there is no value in my life. Everything that I do, I fail. Sometimes I fail in my life. But when you fail like that, you think like, oh, I'm a failure, right? I don't have any value in my life. And that is not the reality, right? That when it comes to reality, that is not true. But still, mind is very good at distorting the reality and creating these scenarios in our mind to say to our life that you're worthless, right? You have no value. There is no value in your life, right? You're not good enough. So how can we deal with this? So I will tell you how I got the help from the spiritual companions and the monks and my teacher. So one time I was so upset of the things that I'm doing, and also everything that I have been doing went wrong, right? It wasn't successful. I was meditating, I was helping the monk, but sometimes I made mistakes and I was worrying about these mistakes. No one complained about me. No one said nothing bad about me, but still my heart says to me that you're not good enough. You're a failure, right? So I was so upset. And now when you're in upset mindset, what is the first thing that comes out of you? It's your facial expressions, right? Someone can say your face is a reflection of your mind state. Okay, so I was upset, and one of the monks who was residing in that monastery noticed me that I'm upset. So he came up to me and said, like, tell me, what's bothering you? Is there anything that is bothering in your mind? You can say it to me. Let's discuss. So the first reaction, as usual, when someone asks from us, how are you, or is there any problem in you? What we say is that, okay, I'm fine, right? There's no problem. But he understood my mental state and told me, tell me the truth. I'm here to help you. We can discuss so that we can sort out the problem. So I told this condition of my mind, mental state of my mind, that I am feeling worthless. I'm feeling that I'm a failure. And then he said, okay, you're feeling worthless. Let's say you're feeling worthless and you're feeling that you don't have any value in your life. But now I need you to check the reality. What are you doing right now? You're meditating, you're helping the monks, and you're doing all the chores, and you're still feeling worthless? Is that the reality? One thing that he said is, check the reality, right? Check what is real. Because mind is pretty good at creating all the worst case scenarios and all the pessimistic thoughts in our mind. Because it's a thought pattern, right? One thing that our mind has is, it has the habit of creating the thought patterns, right? Once we start to feed our mind with a certain thought patterns, it has this looping effect of creating this thought pattern again and again and again. The more we think it, the more it comes back to our mind. So he said that check the reality and understand that your life is not worthless, right? Your life, there are many things that you can be happy about, right? That's the reality. As humans, there is nothing that we can feel like my life is worthless, right? Because there are so many things that we can be happy about. Like being a human itself is something that we can be happy about, right? We got the chance to be a human and practice these good qualities, live as a good human. Itself is something that we can be happy about. And be happy about that you have air to breathe, right? You have people around you that smiles at you. At least find something that you can be happy about. Because there are so many things, there are thousands and thousands of things in reality that we can be happy about. Okay, that is one thing that you have to do. Check the reality. Is it true that my mind saying that your life is worthless? But when you come to reality, you find that there are a lot of things that you can be happy about in our life. Okay, and there's another thing that you can do, and that is keep a gratitude journal, right? Write few things that you have to be like you can be happy about in your life, right? You can be happy about so many things if you think about it. So find something and write about it. And also another thing that you have to do whenever you get these kind of thought patterns is to try to give more, right? Try to help more to other people, right? Whenever you do that, you feel the value of the things that you do, right? The positive energy that you create towards other people, right? And whenever you give, whenever you help others, you see the smile of their faces. You see that people are thanking you, and you think that, oh, this is what the true value of my life, right? My life is not worthless. My life is valuable, that I can create many positive things around me in my life, so that it's not true that my mind's saying that I'm worthless, right? When you realize that, you come to this state and come to that understanding that how valuable this human life is, right? How many positive things that you can do in this life, right? When you do that, that state of mind will go away. So things that we have to do is check the reality and understand, ask from yourself that is that true, that truly that my life is worthless or not, right? And also be generous, help other people, and be happy and understand that your life is truly valuable. So keep this little advice in your mind and be happy.
I think you can remember, in last video we talk about how little changes, little things can make big changes in our life. Okay, so in life, the little things matter the most. So in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you 3 simple daily practices that can make a huge impact in all of our lives. So if you practice this, it is guaranteed that it can help you in many ways. Okay? So without further ado, let's dive into the video. So the first practice is to practice gratitude. Right? So most of the time, we are not happy with the life that we have gotten, right? We think my life is terrible, right? This is worthless. I'm not worth living. But when you practice gratitude, the first thing that we can do is to be grateful for our life. Every day, when you wake up in the morning, just close your eyes and think, I am grateful for the life that I have gotten, right? I'm grateful for every experience that the life have given me, that made me strong, that taught me many lessons. So be grateful for your life first. As the second step, be grateful for every person who is living around you. Okay? There are many people who have taught you many lessons, good or bad. Okay? There are good people who have given you nice memories, and there are bad people who have taught you good lessons to your life. Be grateful for everyone, no matter who the person is. It doesn't matter. Okay? So the one practice is to practice the gratitude. That is very simple. Take a few moments to do that. So the second practice is to practice mindfulness. During your day, take a few moments, maybe like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, to be mindful about what you are doing. To be mindful, you don't want to sit in one place or like do in a meditation posture. All what you have to do is to be mindful or to focus your mind to what you're doing. Maybe like if you're walking, just know that you're walking. Be mindful about it. Pay your attention to it. Okay? Or sit in a quiet place or sit in a relaxed place. Sit on a chair, maybe sit in the meditation posture, and just focus on the in-breath and the out-breath, how you breathe. Okay? That is one practice that you can practice to be mindful. And the final practice is to have a positive self-talk. Instead of positive self-talk, what we are doing, we talk negatively to ourselves. We think like, oh, I'm worst, right? I don't have any value in this life. Nobody loves me. Nobody takes care of me. The more you do it, it will make you a habit, and it will make your inner personality more negative, to think more negatively. So what we can do is take a little time in the day to have a positive self-talk with yourself. You think you value yourself. Oh, I am worthy of loving, right? I am worthy of living. My life is great. Okay? I can do many things. I can be more productive than I am. Okay? Always believe in yourself. This is one thing that I see in many people and many of our lives, that we can be more productive than now we are. Okay? We can be more productive and more successful than who we are now. Okay? So have a positive self-talk. Then it will make you a big change in the long run. So practice these little simple practices in your day and make your life a better one.